Community Church coming at you again with another one of our daily Bible reading videos. Today we have Genesis chapter 37. Now I know we have skipped a little bit from our previous reading of Jacob's ladder, and it was asked of me to take a note that in our story here it says, now Israel loved Joseph. In between our chapters, God does rename Jacob to the name of Israel, and so those two names are used intermittently, so it might depend upon the translation you're using as well, whether they use Jacob or Israel. Just know that in between the scriptures for the daily Bible reading. And also note that just because the daily Bible reading has skipped some chapters, that doesn't mean you have to. You can go and read the chapters in between if you wish. We're just going to be, these videos and some of our conversations are going to be focusing on these chapters. And again, we're trying to keep it to about 15 minutes a day with the Bible reading Monday through Friday. So again, just because the schedule doesn't have these particular chapters doesn't mean you have to skip them. And as we're getting into the story of Joseph, which I would argue is one of the more famous stories of the Bible, most notably because of DreamWorks movie, the animated movie, while not as popular as The Prince of Egypt, but there is a DreamWorks movie about it. And also the famous musical play, I can't remember if it was a musical or play, but Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And that's been a popular rendition of this Bible story that we hear starting in Genesis 37. And so I wanted just to give a few notes that I have and maybe some things to think about with this story. But of course, this is a story that starts off rather quickly. It hits the ground running. We see that Jacob favors his son Joseph quite favorably, and his brothers get mad at him. They throw him into a pit. They want to kill him. They send him into slavery. Reuben feels bad. It's a huge drama and family affair that reads quick. So if you wanted to read through some of these chapters instead of just doing the ones that we have, quote, assigned, that would be great. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was A, Joseph's brothers' animosity towards him, but also B, kind of some technical things to do with the coat itself, because I think some popular, of course the movies and the play that I referenced, media and references don't exactly quite get the picture that the Bible tries to display. And just wanted to jump on here and give some of that commentary. So the first thing with the animosity is I actually have a personal story that kind of goes along with sibling rivalry that happened just actually this past weekend. My uncle got married, and me and my two younger siblings were there, and my mom was there, and we were just hanging out having dinner, and she had gotten up to use the restroom or something, and her phone dinged, and on the notifications bar she got a text from someone that said the golden child. Now, my sister Michaela was the one who saw this, and of course she didn't know if one of us had texted her or they just got that notification and her phone was locked, so we really couldn't quite see what was going on. So of course, instead of asking mom who, quote, the golden child was, we started squabbling among ourselves as to who had actually won mom's favor. Like, who was the golden child in her phone. And so, of course, we tried to start texting her, and we were squabbling with one another. And turns out none of us are the golden child. It's one of our employees at work, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But regardless, we were kind of, getting at each other's throats, saying, well, you did this and I did that. Well, you made mom mad at this point, and well, you got her this gift at Christmas. And we kind of had a little bit of animosity towards one another. Now, I will admit, it never devolved into us trying to kill the other sibling, but sibling rivalries do happen. We see it all the way back. We read about it, Cain and Abel, where death actually happened again. So the story of the Bible is the story of humanity. We all have sibling squabbles and rivalries as well. And so we learn that humanity is fallen, families are broken, and that these are real people living real lives. And so I love the realness of that we get to look into other people's family drama. I don't know if I want mine displayed in a written text like this, but we get to see some of those things here in the Bible. And that's what I really appreciate a lot about, especially the stories in the Old Testament. The second thing I wanted to get at was this coat of many colors. Now, I'm not going to dive deep into the scholarly debates and the translation and whatnot. If you want to, feel free to send us a message if you want, or you can talk to me on Sunday or any other day of the week and just ask, hey, so you reference these scholarly debates between, what exactly does it mean, coat of many colors? The Hebrew is a little uncertain. Really, it's a long-sleeved robe. So you can talk to me about that more in the future instead of trying to do this video in like a half an hour. But what's important about this robe, it's not just about the robe itself, but the robe represents a form of royalty. And we see this in actually 2 Samuel chapter 13 with the garments of Tamar, who is David's daughter. This is King David's daughter. If you want a chance to go read 2 Samuel 13. But Tamar is described as wearing a long-sleeved robe, and this was the garment of the king's children, which means this is the garment of royalty. And so what the Hebrew is telling us here, what the story is telling us, is that Jacob adorned Joseph in the garments of royalty and passed over all of his brothers. It's just not that the fact that this robe may have looked the coolest, maybe it had lots of different colors, but this is overtly showing Jacob's favoritism to his son Joseph. Unlike if my mom were to actually have a contact of one of her 3 kids as the golden child, she's not publicly putting that on display. She's not actively telling us 3 kids which one of us is her favorite. That's something private if it were to be true. Again, one of her employees is named that. But we see here in the biblical text, Jacob does not hide the fact that he clearly favors one of his sons over the rest. And so maybe it's not as shocking to see the sibling rivalry and the squabbles and the animosity they have towards Joseph. And then, of course, it goes to the extreme when Joseph basically says, y'all are going to bow to me. I'm going to be superior. It's pretty arrogant. But we see further in the text, we're going to be reading the story of Joseph here this week, that dream actually does come to fruition, but in a way Joseph probably never expected. But that's Genesis chapter 37. Continue reading. Again, I would recommend reading all the chapters of the story of Joseph. Again, you don't have to, but more Bible is always good than less Bible. Thank you for Community Church for joining in with this video. This is a little bit longer video than the one I made in the airport, but thank you for listening in. I hope you learned something about the story of Joseph that's been insanely popular. Ask me about the translations with the coat. Keep reading about the story of Joseph. His character gets attacked. He gets thrown in prison. This drama is amazing to read. So again, thank you for joining us online. Join us next time with our daily Bible reading videos.